You don't care how people feel about the ritual. It's about does following the ritual work. Yeah. And so you can fool yourself into thinking there isn't one, but the evidence will be clear.
Real deal is we don't own any platform the way we should. There's a few Black-owned platforms, but we don't have a lot of outlets. We don't have as many. So we are not sort of governing over these entities or these corporations.
Hollywood likes to sort of devalue Black artists and Black folk because you get super talented people at a discounted rate.
Katt Williams has been dropping truth bombs for years. Hollywood doesn't want the real ones in the spotlight. It's all about the fakes, the ones who play the game, kiss up to the right people, and follow orders like puppets. But if you've got morals, principles, you're tossed out like last season's fashion. And according to Katt, that's exactly what went down with 90s star Larenz Tate. Yeah, that Larenz, the one who had the streets buzzing in Menace II society, had hearts melting in Love Jones, and gave us nothing but pure Black excellence every time he stepped in front of a camera. But suddenly, poof, he vanished. No scandals, no legal drama, no messy breakdowns, just silence. Hollywood straight up iced him out, and folks were left wondering why one of the most talented Black actors of his era just stopped getting roles. Now, Katt didn't spell it all out, but he definitely dropped enough hints to get people talking. Looks like Larenz might have refused to take part in those shady, behind-the-scenes rituals that some actors get pressured into just to climb the ladder. And when you say no to that, when you refuse to bow down, Hollywood can't control you. And if they can't control you, they blacklist you. So now the real question is, what did Larenz actually dodge? What did he say nah to while others jumped right in without a second thought? And why did the industry turn its back on someone who was built to be a household name? Let's really get into it.
When I be like, oh, these guys are wearing dresses. Everybody's like, oh, he keeps talking about people wearing dresses. No,
that is a weird thing.
It's not like that. Look at it from a different way. Look at it. Show me one person that ever wore a dress in Hollywood unsuccessful.
Back in the 90s, Larenz Tate was that dude. He was everywhere. You couldn't watch a movie without seeing his face pop up and steal the whole scene. He owned his role in Menace II society, playing that wild gangster with a short fuse, scary real. Then he flipped the script in Dead Presidents, showing us that raw pain as a soldier turned robber just trying to survive.
This young man has obviously forgotten some very fundamental things like decency and dedication and honor. Everything the Corps taught us. He is a disgrace to everyone that has ever put on that uniform, and I will not permit you or him to use the Vietnam War as a cop-out here.
And then came Love Jones. Whew, Larenz had every woman stuck on him. He brought Darius Love Hall to life with that smooth poet vibe. Cool, calm, and deep. A total heartthrob who didn't even have to try. But Larenz wasn't just another Hollywood pretty boy. He was ours. Black men looked up to him. Women adored him. He had the skills, the swag, and the class. No mess, no scandals, no thirst for attention. He stayed solid, repping himself in the culture with pride. Larenz wasn't out here chasing fame. He just showed up, acted his heart out, and delivered. But then, out of nowhere, silence, no big crash, no scandal, no wild headlines, no public meltdown. It was like somebody straight up hit mute on his whole career. 1 minute, he was being called Hollywood's next big thing. The next, he just vanished from blockbuster films. And that's what made folks raise eyebrows. Because usually, when a star fades out, there's a messy story behind it. Think about it. Rehab stints, lawsuits, wild behavior, or some career-ending move. But with Larenz, none of that happened. Dude stayed clean, stayed quiet, stayed focused, yet somehow he got pushed to the background. Sure, he pops up here and there, still working, but he never got back that spotlight he owned in the 90s. So, what really happened behind the scenes? Well, it's starting to look like Katt Williams was on point again. Word is, Larenz started turning down roles that didn't sit right with him. Roles that were straight up offensive or full of tired stereotypes. And yeah, that allegedly included roles where he'd have to cross-dress for laughs. Larenz wasn't about that. He wanted roles with depth, stories with meaning. But when you start saying no in Hollywood, they stop calling. Real quick, especially when you're a confident, clean-cut, talented Black man who knows his worth and doesn't beg for validation. That kind of self-respect, makes certain people real uncomfortable. And let's not lie, Hollywood's always had this invisible limit on how many respectable black men they'll let shine at once.
Until we get into the position of being gatekeepers, if we're not in the room, if we don't have a green light vote, it's not getting done. Somebody in the studio has to say, we're making it.
So every time there is, as you said, where everybody's talking about this is now a new wave of black films. Do you think it's
Hogwash.
Hogwash. You don't think it signals a big shift in consciousness? No.
Not buying it.
Not buying it.
Shenanigans.
They'll hype up one, give him the awards, the primetime spotlight, the golden boy treatment. But behind that, they keep the rest boxed into roles as sidekicks or stuck in a loop of the same urban struggle characters. Why? Because like Spike Lee called out years ago, Hollywood loves black pain and dysfunction. That's the lane they're comfortable with. It sells, it's predictable. It keeps things safe for the folks at the top and doesn't shake up the power structure, but a proud, self-respecting black man who refuses to sell out just to grab a check, that's a problem for the system. That's the kind of man young people start looking up to. That's the kind of man who might start speaking out, asking real questions, and calling things for what they are. And Hollywood, they don't want that smoke. So yeah, they'll give us one Denzel, just one, and even Denzel had to be damn near perfect every step of the way. Never slip, never mess up, always be 10 steps ahead just to stay in the game. Larenz Tate didn't vanish because he lacked talent. Let's get that straight. He vanished because he refused to play the role they scripted for him. People used to clown Katt Williams, calling him crazy or bitter, but now folks are waking up and realizing he was spitting facts the whole time, and that's exactly why they tried to silence him. One of the biggest things Katt's always warned about is how Hollywood tests you. And yeah, people love to latch onto the whole dress thing. But according to Katt, it's not really about the dress at all. It's about humiliation and control. Before they let you all the way in, they hit you with a test. A moment where you're asked to do something that goes way against your principles. Something that would make you look in the mirror and barely recognize yourself. And once you cross that line, they got you forever. But Katt didn't stop there. He took it even deeper. Started connecting all this to something way more spiritual. He said Hollywood ain't just shady, it's dark, real dark. And this whole dress ritual isn't just about comedy or shock value. Katt linked it to those old rumors about elite circles and their connection to Baphomet worship. According to Katt, putting on a dress is just the surface. Underneath, it's about submission. It's about giving up control. It's about sacrifice to a system that plays way dirtier than anyone's ready to admit.
That's what makes information so powerful is, you don't care how people feel about the ritual. It's about does following the ritual work. Yeah. And so you can fool yourself into thinking there isn't one, but the evidence will be clear. So like when I be like, oh, these guys are wearing dresses. Everybody's like, oh, he keeps talking about people wearing dresses. No, it's not.
It's a weird thing.
It's not like that. Look at it from a different way. Look at it. Show me one person that ever wore a dress in Hollywood unsuccessfully. That's how you understand what a ritual is.
Now let's tie this back to Larenz Tate. This is a man who had everything. The skills, the looks, the respect from the culture, all of it. So why'd he vanish? Not because he wasn't good enough, but because he most likely got to that final door and chose to walk away. Larenz himself has dropped little clues in interviews. He didn't fall off. He stepped back. He wasn't trying to play a fake role just to stay in the spotlight. He didn't bite the bait. And it wasn't just about walking away from Hollywood's shady games. Larenz also started talking, saying the kind of stuff that makes execs squirm in their seats. He spoke up about something most black actors are pressured to stay quiet on, the pay gap. Yeah, the same industry that loves to throw around words like diversity and inclusion is still cutting short the checks for black talent. Larenz pointed out how black actors, even with the same skills, box office power, and loyal fan bases, still walk away with less money than their white peers. And that's the kind of truth Hollywood hates to hear. They want black actors to smile, be grateful, take the crumbs, and never question the system. But the second someone starts speaking on fairness or real power, that's when things get sneaky. Quiet calls get made, opportunities start disappearing. Just ask Taraji P. Henson, ask Monique. The moment they stood up and said, We Deserve Better, they got hit with labels. Difficult, ungrateful, hard to work with. But when white actors fight for more money, they're called smart, business savvy, and praised for knowing their worth. But Larenz Tate didn't just stop at calling out the pay gap, he went even deeper. He made it clear that throwing black faces into leading roles and cutting a check ain't enough. He exposed the real issue. Who's behind the camera? Who's calling the shots? Who decides what stories get told? And which ones get buried forever?
We don't own any platform the way we should. There's a few black-owned platforms, but we don't have a lot of outlets. We don't have as many. So we're not sort of governing over these entities or these corporations to say, hey, you guys have a great story, y'all want to tell it, and there's money to be made, come here. So when we do find those places, everybody's trying to go through one keyhole. Everybody's trying to go through one tunnel. And even when you go to non-black-owned places, they'll tell you to go over there because they have to find value in what we do. And that's changing quite a bit as we're making it very clear.
Because as long as that power stays locked in the same hands, nothing really changes. Representation without real control, that's just dressing up the problem so it looks better on the outside. And let's be real, Larenz Tate didn't sell out, and that's exactly why they wiped him off the radar. He didn't play by their rules, didn't bow down, didn't trade his dignity for fame, money, or studio handouts. And what did that cost him? Everything. The offers stopped coming. The big budget roles disappeared. The media stopped talking about him. He went from leading man to ghost status, not because he lost his touch, but because he refused to be owned.
Hollywood has always taught us we don't translate overseas or worldwide.
Right.
But when you start traveling and you go everywhere and you can't walk down the street, you then know that there's been somebody telling you something all along that's wrong. And my true belief as to why they do it is because Hollywood likes to sort of devalue black artists and black folk because you get super talented people at a discounted rate. You get a Hollywood likes to get really talented black folks and get them at a discounted rate. Only, certain superstars that can hit that level that they would feel like they would put a machine behind. But the truth of the matter is we do translate because we're humans just like everyone else.
And this is why Hollywood didn't just cancel Larenz Tate. They buried him, quietly, strategically. That's how they move when you're too clean to scandalize, but too solid to control. They don't drag you publicly. They just make sure your phone stops ringing, your name stops trending, and your face disappears from the spotlight. That's what happens when you won't play puppet to their game. But now, the truth's bubbling back up. And the fact that Katt Williams is dropping Lorenz's name after all these years, that's not random. That means something. Because no matter how deep they try to bury the truth, it always finds a way to rise, especially when real ones like Katt refuse to stay quiet. Larenz Tate didn't fall off. He walked away. He escaped the machine, and now the cracks in the system are showing. So now I want to hear from you. What do you think really happened to Larenz Tate? Did he say no to those rituals Katt talked about? Was it just about money and respect? Or is this about something way darker and deeper? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video.